Good morning. Today we are going to continue learning about figure shapes and the next to the 2D shapes. But before that, we are going to review some kinds that we need to look back and use in this 3D shape. First, let us try to review the kinds of the triangles that we have learned. Can you name some of the kinds of triangle that we have learned before? Okay, there is what we call an acute triangle. We said that acute triangles are having angles who are less than 90 degrees. The next one is what we call the right triangles. The right triangles, we said that there is one right angle in the given triangles. And the third one is what we call the equiangular triangle, which we said that all angles are the same. And another one is what we call the isosceles triangle, that we say that the two angles are the same and the third angle are different. And we need to recall the area, for this will be a useful one. Let's say if there is a height and a base, what is the area of a triangle? We can say that the area of a triangle is 1/2 of the base times the height. Or we can simply mean that this will be needed to be a functional one. And as we move on, let's try to recall the kinds of quadrilaterals. Okay, what are the kinds of quadrilaterals that we have learned? We say that there is what we call a rectangle, of course, a trapezoid, yes, a rhombus, a square, and some shapes that has more than we say rhombus. Okay, so those are the things that we know about the kinds of quadrilateral. Or another one is what we call a parallelogram. So let's recall first the area of a rectangle. We said that if there is a width and a length, the area of a rectangle is length multiplied by the width. Remember that we use point now or a small x in order to identify that it is a multiplication, or we can say we just write the two letters that automatically said that it is a multiplication. And likewise, we need to remember the area of a square. And of course, we know that the area of the square is only having two sides needed in order to find the area. So we say that if there is a side, these are all sides, and we know that these are all equal. So the area of a square is side multiplied by the side, or it is equal to side squared. So once we know one side, we already know all those parts and we can find the area. Now, these are what we call the plane figures or flat surface or 2D figure. And now for today, we are going to find out now and name some parts of what we call the 3D figures. Another name for 3D figures. Is there anyone who knows another name for 3D figures? Okay, 3D figures are sometimes called spatial figure or what we call solid figures. But we can easily say that this is a 3D figures to easily remember. All right. We need to identify some vocabulary words that we can remember, because I believe that you took that last year when you are in 4th grade. So these are the following we need to know: the vertex, the face, and the edge. What is the plural form of vertex? Okay, that's right. It is what we call vertices. And of course, we just add S on a face to find out the faces and the edge. So what are these part of what we call the 3D figure as far as we recall? These are what we call, the vertex are the corners, okay, in order to remember easily. The vertex is the corner or corners of a solid figure or a 3D figure. And another one is what we call the face. The face is somewhat what we call one of the sides. And of course, if we are going to the sides are what we call the flat surface. And of course, the edge, we can say the edge is what we call the line segment that connects one another to form a 3D figure. All right, so I am going to show to you a figure in order for you to see it vividly, the parts that we are talking about. Okay, here it is. So we are going to name some kinds of figures that we know. Do you still remember those things? Okay. Okay, there is what we call a cube. Another one, there is what we call a rectangular prism, or another one, there is what we call a sphere. Very good. There's another one kind of prism. Yes, the triangular prism. And another one is what we call the pyramid. Let's say rectangular pyramid. And there is also what we call a triangular pyramid. There is another one that we call a cylinder. And I will mention last one, which is what we call a cone. So these are the things that we are going to recall and review in order to move on to the next subject matter tomorrow. So what are the things that we are going to do today? We have 3 sets of activity. The first group, or we will divide you into 3 groups. The first group will be first doing making a model of these some solid figures. The next group will be going to construct in a graph paper about this all kinds of the solid figures. And the third one is what we call filling up this form, or paper or tables in order to find out what are the parts, the basic parts of these three solid figures. So let's move first to the first group, and afterwards I will give you 15 minutes. After 15 minutes you will switch to go to the next type of activity, and another one. After 15 minutes again you go to the third activity. So everyone will have a chance to do all these activities. Let's see first the first group to do. The first group is simply cutting all this imaginary line or broken line. What are you going to do is to cut it out. And then you will need your ruler in order to, and glue to form this model. What I want you to do is to create at least 2 or 3 models so that your group can experience how to make this solid figures. After doing this, what we need to do is your ruler. I want you to fold all the lines that you can see there. Fold it with the help of the ruler. And then what we need to do next is to connect all these. These extended items are what we call where the glue will be placed in order to connect all these items to form. And then the next thing you need to do is to form it. And how are you going to glue it? We will glue it where it's supposed to be glued. Okay? You analyze how to glue it. Let it dry for a while, and then you can release it. Okay, since the glue is not helping out. Alright, so if I'm going to use the tape, it will be easy, I believe. Okay, so here is what we call the rectangular prism. Next group will use the directions in order to create or construct a prism. Let's say these are what we call the rectangular prism. There is an instruction here that you need to follow, and then there is a model on the progress of what you are doing. Let's say you are going to do this rectangular prism. It says here, draw a rectangular prism that is 5 units. By the way, you need to consider that each square has a side and each side has 1 unit as we declare. Okay, so therefore what we need to do is to draw first 5 units by 8 units in length. 5 units wide, we count it, we start with the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and end it with another, and then the 8, 2, 4, 6, 8 and an 8. Okay, what you need to do is to connect that and form a rectangle. And then it says here, divide the rectangle into 4 equal parts, so it will be easy. And use a light line in order to identify. Okay, so you know this already, it's divided. And then it says here, form the point mark, draw the same size of the rectangle that is overlapping the first rectangle. But before that, mark the center of the 1/4 of the rectangle. This is the 1/4. I will mark it out. This is the center, and then it says there that make another one, or let's say put it down so that the guide of the line is still there. I will make it here, and then draw again the same size of a rectangle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. And if it will be difficult for you to understand, the guide drawing is there for you to follow. These are step 2. So after step 2, we go form a mark size of a rectangle, and that is overlapping the first rectangle. Number 4 is connect the vertices. So we know already where are the vertices or the corners. Connect it. And you will notice that you have already. And then what you need to do is to darken it out. So if you want to use an imaginary lines that to see the front face, because this will be a difficult, you just make the lines that is as if at the back portion of this prism to make it look like that you know where the front is. This will be the front one on you. So this will be how are we going to do. There's a lot of things. There are 7 there to draw. So this is your drawing number 1, and you name it rectangular prism. So within 15 minutes, I believe you can create 2 or 3 figures. Try it out, and I want you to finish that. On the third one, what we need to do is to use these models in order to fill up this one. So the table. So I wanted you to fill it out, and let's say for example you are in sphere. What are the faces? Does the sphere has face? Let's say if there's none, you just put 0. And does the sphere has vertex? You can say there's none. Does the sphere has edge? Of course none. And what are the real examples of sphere? So we can say Earth, Moon, and some object that you can say. We can say ball, okay, common ball, okay. And this sphere has a base, by the way, so we'll try to find out. The base, there's no base, we can say 0 base. All right, so those are the activities. Okay, I want you to go to your groups, and after 15 minutes, I time it out. I will ask you to switch to go to move. The first group will go after finishing the first group will go to the second group, and the second group will go to the third group. The third group will move to the first group activity. Okay, so those are the things. Later on, we will try to finish it out, and of course, we will finalize, summarize, and what are the things that we can do. Alright, after finishing the activity, let's check it with the video that I prepared for you. This video will help us find out some items that we know.
Welcome to Anywhere Math. I'm Jeff Jacobson, and today we're going to talk about three-dimensional figures. So, let's get started. Alright, for today's lesson, there's going to be a lot of terms and a lot of pictures and drawings to make, so make sure you take really, really good notes. Okay, so today we're talking about three-dimensional figures, and before we get to any examples, there's quite a lot of terms and vocabulary words that we need to talk about. So first, if I look at all of these, well, what are they? We call them solids, and solids are three-dimensional figures that take up space. We've got a cube, pyramid, triangular prism, we got a cylinder, a cone, and a sphere. They're all solids. Some of these look like they might belong together, and some of them don't. Okay. The next word we're going to talk about are polyhedrons. Well, which ones of these are polyhedrons? Polyhedrons are three-dimensional figures, right? But all of the faces are polygons. So that means if there's anything that looks rounded, like a sphere, it's not a polyhedron. So this doesn't work. Cylinder is also not a polyhedron. Cone, not a polyhedron.
Okay, let's say that we finished the video, we check our table, and we done everything. And if you didn't understand more what I want you to do, I will give you another website in order for you to finish all these items. And I want you to review that in order to remember the faces, the vertices, the edges, and the base of a given 3D figures. For tomorrow, we will start to solve what we call the volume, which is what the space of the inside the 3D figures. So, and for that, we will continue to do the surface area. So that's why we review this area formulas. And of course, we are going to identify again the bases in order to find out the formation before it forms to become a 3D figure. So I hope that we enjoy doing our activities and remember everything that we have today.